Hey there, it's Boots Owen here. I'm gonna watch out for this fella. He doesn't know what he's doing. Used, or maybe new old stock, BOC Diamond 2. There's a little welding torch there. There's a little mixer on it. I think this one has its own set of cobwebs. It has been used before. You can see there's a bit of colour there from the mixing. Maybe a flashback? I don't know. It's got O-rings in it, that's a start. Push that in, give that a spin. Now it comes with some tips. I got this a long time ago. That's quite a small one. Number 2, let's stick that in it. I got this quite a long time ago at a car boot sale for probably pennies. So just loosen that, adjust that around so that it's in line with the torch, because that's how I want it today. Push it back in and tighten that up. Now, at the moment, I've been using this one. This is an old generic torch that I found in a skip. It's worked quite well. I've put some new tips on it, and I've put the Integra flashback arresters, quick coupler flashback arresters onto the end, and you've seen those in a previous welding video if you want to look back. They're a built-in or flashback arrestor quick coupler unit that clips onto the bottles. But I've got 2 more here for this because I've got some new hoses. So rather than put the new hoses on the set I'm using, I think the oxygen mixer, the oxygen knob isn't quite right on this one. They're both a bit weird. So they both, when they're closed and you go to open them, you can over tighten them closed and then it's difficult to adjust. And the oxygen can be difficult to adjust when you're trying to set the flame. So I've got two new of these. New, I don't know, they're new old stock or what. Let's see what dates on them. I got these on eBay. Do they have a date code on them? '03/2013. And 05/2013. And the ones that, so I bought those new from eBay recently. And these ones were supplied by Air Products 2019, 2020. So these were supplied this year by Air Products in 2020, and they're a year or 2 old. So got some hoses. I'm just going to do some coupling. I didn't use any PTFE tape when I joined the Integra connectors on the last time. So that looks like the torch end. The fatter end is the fatter end goes onto here. And really they're meant to get a seat from the brass on the taper here, so you shouldn't really need any. Oh, right hand thread, left hand thread. Which one is it? Screwed in the wrong way. Use an adjustable spanner because that's got the most chance of wrecking the parts. Steel on brass. And the clue is in the colours. Red goes with red. I'll just nip it up there. We'll do a leak test on it. I've got some leak test solution. Red for acetylene. And blue is for oxygen. It just screws in the usual way. These hoses have a check valve built in here as well, so you shouldn't be able to get a backflow of gases, which is good. Got these hoses on eBay. They arrived today. They were 5-meter hoses, 8mm bore, 6mm bore, small hoses. And on this end, on the flashback arrestor end, it's a 3/8 inch BSP thread. That took me a while to figure this stuff out, so I'm just telling you. On this side, it's a 1/4 inch BSP thread that goes onto the welding torch, and it's a lightweight torch. So it's a lightweight. It's a 1/4 inch size. I think that's the tradition. So there's a little thing here that says O2, pointing in this direction. So this is oxygen. Have a look in there. There could have been cobwebs in this one because there was no caps on it. but I don't see any. Let's have a look in there and see, there's a cone on this end as well, so it should just butt up and make a seal through compression without any tape. Do the same thing but the opposite direction with this one. Okay, how do you tighten these up? Just holding it in my hand. And this one, tighten it the other way as if you're loosening a regular one. Okay, now I'm gonna join these hoses up with tape or something and come back to you. Right then, I think they're different sizes, but I don't know actually. Let's put them on. Oxygen and acetylene, and they just snap on by pushing the ring up. Let's get that out of there because I don't want to sit too well. So I've mentioned previously that I struggle with the oxygen gauge on these things. First of all, I don't hear any gas hissing, which is a good sign. So let's just do a test. Well, let's turn them on first. I don't hear any gas hissing unless they're actually on. Turning on the oxygen at the moment. Let's turn on the acetylene. There's the pressure popping up. Okay, let's try it here. And it's the regulator there up to. Now the one thing I don't have for this is a blanking tip to test the seal here, but I can get a bit of stuff on it now. So for the acetylene, here's a bottle of leak detector. It's just basically soapy water as far as I can tell. I don't see any bubbles. Test it again here. Test the knob, and then I'll turn on the oxygen and put that up quite a deal higher. You can hear that. Purge the pipe, close it, put on a bit of soap again. I don't see any bubbles coming off that. It looks okay to me. This is not the full procedure for this. I'm just checking my joints, that's all I'm checking. There's the one on the end, it's not bubbling either. So that's by no means a full gas safety check, but I'm just checking the connections on the hoses, that's what I wanted to do. So open the acetylene, and it's set there at about 2.5, 3. I want about 2.5, I'll leave it at that. Listen to this. So I want to set my oxygen. Going over to the oxygen cylinder then. The oxygen cylinder goes up to a much higher pressure, so I'll open it up. And then I've got to lean this right back down so it sounds like it was on the other side. So they both sound similar now, which is not very scientific, but given that that gauge is awful and I can't figure out, what I'm thinking is if I had some kind of a manifold down here on the end of the flashback arrestor, it might be possible to put another gauge afterwards and regulate it that way with a lower pressure gauge, lower regulator gauge. Don't know. Let's see. So I'm back up on the bench, and this is what I meant by just taping up the hose. So every half meter or so I've put a tape joint on it just to make them a bit more Siamese, and I've got a sunglass lens here. I'll put that on, and that might make it easier for you to see the weld. So let's see how this one goes. Acetylene on first, bring in a bit of oxygen, a bit more acetylene, and it's difficult to get the camera to focus on this. Tip's not tight enough yet. So if we get the camera to focus on it, maybe that's it. So if I turn down the oxygen so it's mostly acetylene, that's your carburizing flame. open the oxygen and it becomes a fine cone. And at that point, when it just goes from being a feather to a cone, so there's the feather, and bring more oxygen, and if you put on too much oxygen, it becomes really sharp, and that's an oxidizing flame. So turn off the oxygen somewhat. There it is. Hopefully, it's very difficult to see on the camera. It's a bit too close to the lens really for this kind of temperature. So, let's try and weld a little bit. Okay, hopefully that will stay focused and we can do a bit of welding. I'm just going to run a weld around it, hopefully not burn through it. It's bicycle tube. I'll bring a bit of filler rod just in case this is a bit too thick of filler rod, but we'll see how we go. Okay. Tommy's already told me that my vise is way too good for this. But it's the vise I've got over here at the moment. Yeah, it looks good. We're getting a bit of flame. Put a bit of heat into the rod, filler. Quite a low flame this, not much heat in it. Maybe just the same heat in it, there's not much intensity in it. Which is good because it means that a novice like me can keep up. I'm also using a rod that's a bit too big for this thickness of metal. Turn it around, bring it in a bit more heat. There we go, the pool's forming on the previous weld. Ooh, what was that? Too much oxygen, I think. I don't know if you can see that. A little bit too much oxygen on, I think, is what was wrong there. So let's see how we go. Or it could have just been something in the filler, I guess. Let's start again. Back a bit. There we go, it's coming up to heat. Getting that nice honey coloured weld puddle. So this is a number 2 tip since the beginning of the video. My angle's a bit low today for the torch, but I'm finding that if I keep it quite steep, it'll blow through the hole, blow the puddle through into the steel. For me, this is the best kind of welding because it's so quiet. I've gone a bit off there because I'm not following a line or a joint. just zigzag back to where I should be. Just bring it back over to the beginning, and that's that. So that torch seems okay to me. Let's turn this down. Oxygen and acetylene. Oxygen off, acetylene off, and we're off. That's the weld. Whoa, it's too hot when you hold it like that for long. So there's the weld. Not too bad for a beginner. Questions or comments, leave them below. Thanks for watching. See you later.